Welcome to Bread Baker's Calculator. This program grew out of a personal need to be able to produce bread on a regular basis, small amounts of bread 2 or 3 times a week, and then occasionally having friends over and needing to bake larger quantity. So the question always is, how much do I need? This program uses the professional method of the baker's percentage. And once you know the percentages for your particular favorite recipe, it's a very straightforward matter of scaling it up to a larger group of people or down to a smaller group of people. Now, as a background, this program is built around no-knead baking, which is a tremendous way for the home baker to produce high-quality artisan bread in a flexible time frame with very little work. So if you're not familiar with no-knead baking, I'd advise you have a look at that. The program, though, deals primarily with the 4 ingredients that we see in a lot of, or most bread baking, which is flour, water, yeast and salt. The baker's percentage is everything's expressed as a proportion of the flour. So the flour is treated as 100%, then the water, the yeast and the salt are smaller percentages of that 100, 70%, 5%, whatever it may be. This program allows you to type in your baker's percentage, and down, as I'll show you shortly, down the bottom of the program are recommendations of typical baker's percentages for different styles of bread. But it allows you to type in the baker's percentages, then you can scale the amount of flour up or down. So let's look at the program first of when you first start the Bread Baker's Calculator. It suggests some common values for you. So you have somewhere to start. You can adjust those. So looking at the screen now, and this is what you'll see when you first come in once you've installed, you'll see 500 grams is the recommended amount of flour. And it's suggesting, and that's the most of that is baker's flour, so the white baker's flour, but it's suggesting you can combine it with an alternative flour type, and in this case it's wholemeal at 20%. Then as we scroll down and look at I'm just scrolling down, water is set at 75%, that's hydration, yeast at 0.5, salt at 2, there's no sweetener, but you could add a sweetener percentage as well. It also tells you, depending on the flour you've typed, the alternate flour type you've chosen, what you can expect of it. So this is wholemeal, and it's got some comments there. So we scroll down, there's a bit of general advice about the dough. Then the first important information, I'll just get that straightened for you, is how much do we need? And the amounts are expressed in weight as grams or in cups, teaspoons, tablespoons. I tend to use weight for the larger amounts, and then I use teaspoons for the yeast, and typically instant yeast, and the salt as well. Then out of that comes the total dough weight, which is essentially everything in this program is everything excluding the sweetener, and volumes and so on. But the next really important section, and which you often go back and forth trying to find the right amount, is it gives you an estimate of the number of slices for that amount of flour and water, and converts that into servings based on 2 slices a person. It then tells you a bit about the sizes of the baking, the sizes of the equipment you need. So the typical tin dimensions, if you're going to use a tin, the Dutch oven size, if you're using a Dutch oven, which is a very popular way for no-knead baking, very simple too. What size of mixing bowl you'll probably need, and if you do decide to go with bannetons, what banneton size do you need? There's a bit of quick commentary now or reference about no-knead baking if you've got a warm room temperature, or a cold room temperature, and so on. Then a last section, if you're not familiar with the baker's percentages for the style of bread you would like, or you've just forgotten. There's sandwich loaf, there's the crusty round, classic sort of harder crust, bigger crumb, whole, wider, open crumb, country loaf, baguette, wholemeal, focaccia, and the rye bread. Not only does it tell you the baker's percentages, it gives you a quick reference guide on how much fermentation time you'll need, what oven temperature you'll probably be running at, and what temperature, and what internal temperature are you looking for with the bread to know it's properly cooked. And I use that all the time. So this is my go-to program when a dinner party's coming up, or my partner says, we've got 6 people, could you do 1 or 2 loaves for that? So let's go back to the top. Now, the program also includes a menu system, so I'll do that again. And they're the various important areas. So we'll go back home. So we can say, no, we want 300 grams of flour. We'll leave the others just to see what that does. We'll go back to the yield just to see, and it gives us 18 slices. And you think, well, that's probably enough for 9 servings, even with hungry people. And then we'll go back home again. You can decide, I don't want wholemeal combined with it. I'd like to use spelt bread. So I've got spelt flour combined with the bakers. Now the notes further down will say when you use spelt, you can expect a slightly nutty taste. And it suggests no more of a percentage than 50%, which actually turns out to be one of my favorites. This is a totally free program. It is supported by some advertising at the bottom, which keeps development going. So thank you for your time. I appreciate the time you're giving to this. Have a go at it. I think it will help you in improving your consistency, less mistakes, in your bread baking. Thank you again.